Remy Ma of Papoose pawning. Is this a chain or a jacket? A bracelet? A necklace? Remy Ma claims that Papoose pawned her bracelet because he needed cash. She said he was broke. She said he was broke. He didn't help with no money, no bills, no nothing. Remy put him out. He moves into Claressa.
Reports are flooding timelines tonight, and the internet is once again in full meltdown mode, according to a growing wave of online chatter. Tasha K has dropped what she calls proof that could completely flip the narrative around Remy Ma and Papoose. Fans are shocked as blogs, reaction channels, and comment sections light up with claims that an alleged divorce may no longer be just a rumor. At the same time, whispers about Papoose's supposed $8 million deal connected to Claressa. Shields are being questioned from every angle, adding fuel to an already raging fire. 107, none of this has been officially confirmed.
If you can't afford to retain a lawyer, since your lawyer that the number you gave us has not been retained yet, I told you I'll paper it. If somebody over there that loves you wants to paper it, great. That will make me happy. Everything is signed and ready to go. I don't want nothing. I'm not even asking for child support. My daughter's school, her babysitter, her nanny, her gymnastics, her swimming, her dancing, her healthcare, her all of that. I take care of it like I've always done. I don't need any.
I just like to express this one thing. All these girls be like, thank you to my man. And I want to say, to my hands, thank you to my hands. To my hands, thank you to my hands. Listen, for me knowing how to fight and me training hard, I make millions of dollars just from beating people up. So, to my hands, thank you to my hands. To my hands, thank you to my hands.
Y'all,
armed. But that hasn't stopped social media from spinning the story into a full-blown reality TV-style saga. Emotions ran high as viewers tried to connect the dots between Tasha K's statements, old interviews, and recent public appearances. Some are asking if this is the moment everything finally comes into the open, while others believe the timing alone raises more questions than answers. Screenshots, voice clips, and vague hints are being dissected in real time, with fans insisting something big is unfolding right in front of them. 52:45. 51 minutes and 15 seconds. What makes this situation even more intense?
Y'all have to watch Claressa Shields' cousin's interview. Even though y'all had a disdain for her, I don't think she was lying on Claressa. And I'm gonna tell you why in just a second, okay? It's all gonna make sense. The Win Records deal, $8 million deal. Where would Papoose get $8 million from to give to Claressa for fights?
Is how personal the stakes feel. Remy Ma and Papoose have long been seen as one of hip-hop's strongest couples. So the idea that a private split could be hidden behind smiles and silence has left supporters stunned. Meanwhile, the rumored financial deal involving Claressa Shields has sparked its own debate, with people questioning motives, loyalty, and what's really happening behind closed doors. The family was left divided online, with sides forming almost instantly. One thing is evident as the rumors get louder by the minute. The discussion has already taken on a life of its own, regardless of the validity of these stories. And if history has taught us anything, it is that such tales seldom remain silent for very long. The internet environment changed as soon as Tasha K went live. Viewers characterize it as one of those broadcasts when you can sense tension growing through the television even before anything specific is stated. She repeated that she had seen documents and messages that others had not, speaking in a confident manner, according to reports that went viral later. Her tone alone gave supporters the impression that something significant was happening, even though she did not explicitly state facts as fact. Comments on timelines stated that this felt different from previous rumors, as though the discussion had moved into a more intimate and awkward area. Reactions. began to come in from all across social media as the live stream went on. Some of Remy Ma's longtime followers expressed shock, saying they could not fathom a circumstance in which a divorce would go unnoticed for so long. Others cited brief excerpts from previous interviews, red carpet appearances, and social media posts that now seemed to have deep significance. People's emotions were running high when they watched videos again, focusing on body language and facial expressions, believing they had previously overlooked clear clues. On the other hand, a vociferous faction retaliated, claiming that online rumors have a history of dramatizing every day relationship ups and downs. The allegations pertaining to Papoose and Claressa Shields swiftly surpassed the purported divorce negotiations. According to rumors, an $8 million deal was under scrutiny, and internet specialists were attempting to determine the source of the amount. While some disregarded it as exaggerated rumors meant to attract attention, others speculated it was connected to upcoming commercial endeavors, endorsements, or behind-the-scenes relationships. Despite the uncertainties, the concept alone provoked contentious discussions about time, loyalty, and whether or not financial goals were being wool. Financial goals were being wool. Like, look at this, and we look at this. And we all know I've been exploring that. And we all know I've been exploring that path. Despite the uncertainties, the concept alone, we commence. We see content at we see we see as so well we are too. Core would to see so we confide to see what can we sigh come in with can call unqui with sigh with we can see we can see to you we to see ku to you to see you we can I so you to get you can you I could you could to God if to ku to sit I could you I go we do you we got combined with personal relationships, the tone became more and more polarized within fan communities. One side contended that it was unfair and intrusive to bring up Remy Ma's private separation in public. They emphasized that celebrities still have the right to privacy and that silence does not always equate to dishonesty. However, detractors said that public personalities, particularly those who are hailed as symbols of power and solidarity, should base their reputations on openness. They perceived the potential for concealed realities as a betrayal of the carefully crafted image that had been put forward for years. Additionally, sources indicate that intimate friends and associates were under pressure, according to Anonymous. Sources, members of the circle, were constantly getting messages asking them to confirm or refute rumors they weren't sure about. Some reportedly choose to remain silent, while others made ambiguous remarks that merely piqued interest. Fans placed significance into every hour that went by without an official comment. And the official channel's silence formed its own narrative. Even in the absence of direct communication, the public opinion court caused division inside the family. Fans observed how carefully Tasha K phrased her remarks as live footage of the event continued to circulate. She frequently used language that let listeners make their own judgments, such as, according to what I have seen, or based on what was shared with me. This strategy drew viewers farther into conjecture by making the scenario seem more like a riddle than a blatant charge. People argued about whether this was deliberate suspense or responsible commentary meant to hold viewers' attention without making overt accusations. Meanwhile, the story of Papoose and Remy Ma's previous romance was being repeated on various media. Fans were reminded of the significance of their relationship by the resurfacing of old footage of encouraging moments, heartfelt interviews, and public declarations. Viewers found it difficult to connect those memories with the notion of a quiet breakup, which made the present rumors more impactful. While some followers acknowledged that they were truly depressed, others were upset over what they perceived as needless drama involving a very intimate relationship. Another level of complication was introduced by the discussion around Claressa Shields. According to accounts, She was put in an unpleasant limelight when her name was associated with financial transactions and romantic rumors. Her fans fiercely objected, claiming she was being unjustly pulled into a story that she never discussed in public. However, detractors contended that public associations inevitably draw attention, particularly when money and celebrity are at stake, with fresh viewpoints emerging every minute. This conflict of viewpoints kept the discussion flowing. What began as a single live broadcast turned into a vast web narrative by the end of the day. The impact was evident even though no official documents or comments were made. Comment sections seemed to be emotional battlefields where allegiance, doubt, belief, and curiosity clashed, even though the plot was based solely on reports, interpretations, and the power of suggestion. Many viewers found it to be sufficient to feel invested. What is still most remarkable is the speed at which perception may change. A purported contract became a symbol of potential hidden motivations, and a marriage formerly thought to be unshakable was now the subject of considerable inquiry. The discussion itself demonstrated how strongly audiences relate to public personalities and the narratives they represent, regardless of the veracity of any of these assertions. And as the cacophony grew, it became evident that this was more than just rumors either. It was about how readily narratives can change people's reputations before any fact is verified. According to accounts, secret group conversations and fan forums got even more heated as the discussion continued into the night. People who had previously casually watched Papoose and Remy Ma were now analyzing every previous encounter with new eyes. Screenshots of previous tweets, removed captions, and subtle unfollows were disseminated as though they were proof in court. The speed at which innocuous moments were reinterpreted as indicators of distance astounds admirers. Silence during a recent appearance was suddenly reported as loud, while laughter from an earlier interview was now called forced. Online chatter claims that the narrative started to be dominated by the pressure of public expectations. Proponents contended that relationships vary over time and that not all changes indicate betrayal or disintegration. Others replied that people feel entitled to explanations when fractures surface when your public persona is built around devotion and resilience. There was a lot of passion in the comment sections, where skepticism and empathy collided, and nobody seemed to be willing to compromise. Every viewpoint seemed intimate, as though viewers were defending their own views on commitment and love. According to reports, many who were near to the scenario felt trapped in a precarious circumstance. Unnamed friends reportedly struggled to decide whether to stop what they believed to be harmful presumptions or to maintain their anonymity. Some purportedly attempted to diffuse the tension by telling followers that not everything they hear is accurate, but their ambiguous assurances only served to stoke the flames. Denial was considered as damage control, while silence was seen as confirmation. The family was split not only in terms of admirers, but also in terms of how loyalty had to be demonstrated. The purported evidence that was brought up in Tasha K's commentary remained a major topic. Viewers frequently watched the live stream, noting pauses, shifts in tone, and instances in which she drew closer to the camera. While some contended that these motions demonstrated assurance, others countered that they were a performance intended to increase tension. According to accounts, even those who weren't convinced by the story said that the presentation was compelling enough to make them wonder. It made it difficult for viewers to distinguish between storytelling and commentary, leaving them confused of the boundaries between believing and curiosity as financial conjecture began to surface. The conversation surrounding the disputed $8 million sale became more heated. Armchair analysts dissected fictitious collaborations, sponsorships, and contracts in an attempt to make connections that might not exist. Critics claimed the amount seemed unattainable and purposefully inflated, while some maintained that it represented ambition and a new beginning. This debate raised concerns about how money might alter perceptions of timing and loyalty, shifting the focus from human feelings to power relations. Claressa Shield's fans responded angrily to being drawn into the story. Many reportedly felt protective, claiming that allegations unrelated to her profession were overshadowing her accomplishments. Supporters insisted that rumors shouldn't define her and inundated social media with reminders of her dedication and discipline. Others conjectured about what it must be like to have your name become popular for reasons you've never discussed in public. This tension demonstrated how interconnected stories may impact individuals beyond the original focus by adding additional emotional element. The absence of official clarification became a headline in and of itself as the days went by. Some admirers claimed that the silence was deliberate, letting the rumors fizzle out on their own. Others thought it was a sign of hurt or tiredness, implying that answering would just lead to more inquiries. People's emotions were running high as they discussed how to deal with public criticism. And there was no obvious solution that satisfied everyone. The lack of words seemed burdensome, leaving room for creativity to fill in the blanks. According to reports, the dramatic framing and frequent updates made even casual onlookers feel invested. For fans who had followed the couple's journey for years, what had begun as entertaining commentary gradually transformed into an emotional experience. Commenters related the issue to their own relationships and anxieties, sharing personal anecdotes. As a result, the conversation felt less like gossip and more like a group debate on vulnerability, trust, and image. Tasha K remained a divisive figure during all of this. Some referred to her as fearless and complimented her for speaking up for what others were reluctant to say. Critics contended that suggestions without proof can be detrimental and accused her of taking advantage of uncertainties to garner attention. This division reflected the broader discussion in which accountability, perception, and truth clashed. Fans are astounded that a single telecast could elicit such strong, emotional responses. The story had developed well beyond its initial spark by this time. It was now more about how quickly public opinion can change than it was about purported documents or dubious transactions. Relationships, occupations, and reputations seemed to be being evaluated by strangers who were only partially aware of the narrative. As the discussion progressed, many observers who were observing from the sidelines noticed that once conjecture takes hold, it rarely stays contained and the echoes can linger far longer than the initial statements. According to reports, the tone of feeling changed from curiosity to exhaustion as the online storm continued to intensify. Some followers started to doubt their own involvement, wondering why their moods were being affected by a relationship they did not live in. However, the scrolling persisted despite suspicions emerging. People were captivated by the expectation that each fresh post would ultimately clarify everything. Emotions were high as the excitement of speculation blended with the expectation for clarity. Digital chatter claims that earlier interviews have reappeared, but with a more gentle perspective. Some viewers listened for vulnerability rather than hidden tension. They highlighted instances in which Remy discussed forgiveness, personal development, and the strain of public love. These videos provoked a new kind of discussion on whether quiet can sometimes be a sign of strength. Fans are astounded at how fast the tone may shift when distrust is momentarily replaced with empathy. According to sources, Papoose evolved into a symbol in these conversations, more as a concept than as a person. He was portrayed by some as devoted and patient, by others as cautious and cunning. Both sides spoke confidently, but neither expressed certainty. This paradox demonstrated how quickly narratives are allocated without verification. Every characteristic turned into a projection, reflecting viewers' preconceived notions rather than verifiable facts. The purported financial issues kept spreading, affecting how people saw motivations. Some contended that timing was important, implying that the mention of money was the only reason rumors spread. Some claimed that money was a diversion from more serious emotional problems. This conflict of interpretation sparked late-night discussions in which instinct and reason clashed. The public's opinion of the family was split between those who perceived ambition and those who perceived opportunism. In the meantime, complexity was increased by responses from broader circles. According to accounts, industry peers subtly expressed their opinions through cryptic posts and nonverbal cues. Every emoji, whether it be a heart or an ambiguous caption, is examined for potential hidden meanings. Fans carefully examined these signals, transforming informal exchanges into purported warnings or endorsements. It demonstrated how, whether on purpose or not, celebrity can transform even quiet into a statement. The function of commenting itself came up. Viewers wondered where duty begins and narrative ends. Some contended that despite disclaimers, presenting rumors as reports nevertheless impacts belief. Others supported the freedom to talk about what is already popular, arguing that ignoring it won't make it go away. This philosophical split gave the drama an unanticipated dimension and turned it into a discussion about audience power and media culture. According to accounts, moderators found it difficult to maintain civil discourse in fan spaces. Conflicts about accountability, limits, and respect erupted, reminding others that actual people exist behind the headlines. Other users called for empathy. Others urged public individuals to embrace criticism as a necessary component of their visibility. As messages were removed, threads were shut, and tempers erupted, emotions ran high, reflecting the chaos of the greater story. Supporters of Claressa, Shields persisted in resisting being entangled in rumors throughout this time. Her focus, discipline, and refusal to remark were highlighted. Some were impressed by this restraint, while others were suspicious. Fans are astounded at how, depending on the viewer's prejudice, restraint itself can be perceived as either avoidance or dignity. Behind-the-scenes fatigue is also hinted at in reports. According to anonymous sources, even the most hardy people might become weary of continuous loudness. A pressure cooker effect is produced by phones buzzing, names trending, and opinions proliferating. Viewers who had personally dealt with less severe forms of public criticism found resonance in this concept. The emotional burden of being talked about without control rather than celebrity made the story sympathetic. The story lost its basic boundaries and turned into something more abstract as the days blended together. It was now about trusting information itself rather than just purported evidence or dubious transactions. People were asked how they make decisions when there are few facts and strong emotions, even though some participants took a step back for their personal peace. This uncertainty kept the discourse going, according to accounts. Other fans tried to completely reframe the incident, implying that patience was the true lesson. Instead of following every change, they advised people to wait for verifiable statements. Although there was some support for this viewpoint, it was unable to keep up with the rapid flow of content. Waiting felt strange and nearly impossible in an immediacy-driven workplace. The feeling of unsolved tension persisted throughout all of this. Not because there was just one open question, but rather because there were numerous perspectives at once. Narrative control, ambition, loyalty, and privacy all clashed in one area. Fans are astounded that a narrative based on news and analysis could feel so weighty and stay in their minds long. After the displays were turned off, many viewers noticed a change in themselves by the end of this discussion session. Excitement had given way to introspection. The drama persisted, but it now had a more subdued undertone that raised awkward issues regarding empathy and consumption. And even in the absence of clarity, the narrative kept developing, influenced not only by those at its core, but also by all the voices who chose to participate. According to reports, the online atmosphere grew darker and almost introspective as the talk progressed. Fans who had previously hurried to leave comments now took their time, considering their remarks as though they had repercussions. It gradually became clear that speculation, no matter how amusing, nonetheless affects actual lives. Emotions were running high, but they were now simmering beneath the surface with calm intensity rather than exploding in such conversations. The focus switched to audience accountability rather than individual accountability. People wondered how rumors become powerful just by being repeated. A story that might never come to an end seemed to gain new depth with each sharing, response, and furious comment. Fans are astounded by how easily group curiosity can transform into group pressure, setting expectations that no one publicly agreed upon. According to sources, Remy's fans started highlighting her prior fortitude, reminding people of times when she overcame hardship and came out stronger. They discussed the cost of life in the spotlight, reinvention, and survival. The tone of some threads was eased by these reflections, which turned arguments into discussions about development rather than blame. However, disagreements persisted because not everyone agreed with this reframing. Conversely, Papoose continued to play a major role in hypothetical situations. The silence all around him was interpreted in countless ways. While some argued that quiet was a sign of respect, others maintained that it was a tactic. Because there were no definitive answers, creativity was free to run wild. The public's perceptions of the family were influenced by individual experiences and values rather than by facts. Strong reactions to the purported financial participation persisted. According to reports, conversations became more heated whenever financial data were brought up. For many viewers, money represented intention, independence, and power. While some contended it explained nothing at all, others thought it answered everything. This gap demonstrated how easily numbers may take precedence over feelings, even when those feelings are purportedly at the core of the narrative. As the days went by, more content producers joined the discussion, each contributing their unique perspective and tone. While some delivered their breakdowns in a composed manner, others tended to be dramatic. The fact that the same set of findings can sound very different depending on who delivers the tale astounds fans. Narration style alone seems to have the power to shape belief, demonstrating how perception is influenced by storytelling. Additionally, reports indicate that viewers started to become weary. Burnout was brought on by constant updates that were unresolved. People acknowledged feeling exhausted, but they continued to check the news, torn between curiosity and wariness. This paradox demonstrated how drama may develop into a habit and be absorbed even when it is no longer fulfilling. A more subdued story about privacy surfaced among the commotion. Commentators questioned whether boundaries still exist when family and celebrity come together. While some contended that public figures automatically compromise their privacy, others maintained that some boundaries should never be breached. This discussion revealed a general unease with how accessible personal struggles have become, but it did not yield any solutions. Claressa's supporters' responses kept highlighting their wish to keep her identity apart from the mayhem. They resisted being reduced to a rumor by emphasizing achievement, discipline, and focus. This defense demonstrated how collateral tales may develop around those who never requested to be engaged, adding still more emotional depth. According to accounts, spectators' imaginations of dramatic revelations, separations, and reconciliations even reached hypothetical ends. As if foretelling a series conclusion, these hypothetical outcomes were hotly contested. The ease with which reality is treated as scripted entertainment, complete with anticipated twists and emotional payoffs, astounds viewers. However, there remained a sense of uncertainty behind these theories. There are merely echoes of opinions circulating across platforms, no official announcements, and no verified details. Although it kept the plot alive, this lack of resolution made it brittle. It was shaped by attention rather than proof and existed more as a collective experience than as a clearly defined event. As participation persisted, some voices called for moderation, urging others to take a step back and keep empathy in mind. They warned other viewers that even when presented as entertainment, comments can cause pain. These signals changed the tone of the discourse by introducing pauses into its continuous flow. But they did not stop it. The narrative had progressed past its initial assertions at this point. It turned into a mirror reflecting media dynamics, audience behavior, and emotional investment. Fans are astounded not only by the reports per se, but also by the collective interest and judgment reflected in their responses. Ultimately, awareness was what was left instead of clarity. Knowledge of how quickly rumors proliferate, how deeply people participate, and how challenging it is to distinguish between intrusion and interest. The drama persisted, unresolved and fluid, supported more by attention and interpretation than by verifiable facts. And the discussion continued as a reminder of the authority and accountability that come with seeing, responding, and sharing as long as that focus persisted. The most important question now rests with you as this news keeps making the rounds on timelines and in comment sections. How much weight should rumors have in the absence of official confirmation? And what do you think is actually going on behind these reports? Fans are astonished, feelings are running hot, and the public's perception of the family is split. Yet the truth still seems unattainable. Your voice is important in this situation. Now is the time to voice your opinions if you have been keeping up with every development, response, and theory. Do you think these tales are suggesting something more profound? Or do you think this is just another instance of conjecture overpowering fact? Your viewpoint adds a new dimension to this continuing discussion, and all viewpoints influence how narratives such as this are perceived. Make sure to support the channel if you liked this analysis and would like to remain in touch as more reports and conversations come up. Turning on notifications guarantees you never miss a new angle. Like this video makes it easier for others to locate the conversation. And subscribing keeps you informed of future improvements. This area is designed for people that seek drama, criticism, and analysis without taking rumors at face value. Most importantly, share your opinions in the comments section. Does quiet speak volumes? Or are fans reading too much into it? Do prominent personalities need to confront rumors head-on? Or will doing so just make them worse? Your responses can start the next round of conversation. Remain interested, inquisitive, and don't forget to challenge what you hear. Continue the discussion here until the next report is out. The next report is out.